Okay, I'm stoked for this. Guys, YouTube is filled with a whole lot of fluff. I've reluctantly started my channel and want to start bringing content to you. The first thing that we're going to be talking about today is Twitter. I want to bring actionable content to you that you can actually take and implement into your business right now. Tried and true processes, things I'm doing in this very moment with my team. X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it is one of the most valuable places to build your own personal brand right now. I mean, once Elon Musk acquired it, it pretty much stopped being just another social media platform and became an asset for the future. Like, I mean, if you know anything about Elon Musk, whatever he grabs, he innovates. And whatever he's going to do with Twitter, I'm not going to go into weird conspiracies, but whatever he's going to do with Twitter is going to be innovative. It's going to be incredible for the industry and for everyone inside the industry. So I think it is a very important investment in the future to have a personal brand on Twitter. The algorithm allows it for pretty much anyone to go viral and gain traction quickly, which is a lot harder on other platforms. So, I will show you how to get clients from Twitter super easily. I will not show you how to go viral. Not going to show you how to get engagement. Those metrics don't even really translate into money into the bank at all times. I don't have a crazy amount of followers. You can go check me out on Twitter, but I've made a lot of money from Twitter. Lots of broke people go viral, guys. There's lots of influencers out there who are broke, and especially on money Twitter. It's wild. I get a crazy amount of cold DMs from people that have way too many followers and just aren't doing enough. So I'm going to go through the step by step processes that you guys can use, implement these today, and go get clients. I hope that's good. I hope that's good with you guys. No mindset foo foo business, just ABC. Let's get to the end. An introduction is necessary. My name's Zachary Schubert. I run a seven-figure agency. We do SEO for ecom brands, as we also do Amazon for ecom brands as well. Just looking to bring the information and the processes that I'm using on a daily basis to you guys so that you can take them and then implement them in your businesses as well. So I think it goes without saying that you need to have your profile optimized. I mean, I would think it would be going without saying, but I've seen a lot of profiles out there of people that just they really need to get their crap together. Put a good picture of yourself on there. I don't care if it's a selfie. I don't care if it's a picture that you hire someone and have them take a solid photo shoot of you, but don't have some weird NFT or something like that. Just make yourself look like a solid professional, especially if you're looking for higher level business people and you're like looking to get paid retainers that are 3, 4, 5, even 10,000. Like, just make yourself look presentable in the bio. Just make it very clear what you do. You don't need to put anything that you have pets or what your dog's name is. Just be like, hey, I do SEO for e-commerce brands. I've made over 120 million for my clients. If you're interested in learning more, check the link below. Just make it super straightforward and super clear when you're crafting that bio so that people actually know who you are. I've gone to so many profiles where I go there and I'm just like, what the heck does this guy even do? I feel obligated to message him just because I'm confused at what he does and I'd like to learn. So don't be that person. Just make it super straightforward and super simple. The great thing about Twitter is you can post an obscene amount of content and an obscene amount of posts and you don't get penalized for it. For example, on like Instagram, you're like, oh, you're only supposed to post once a day. Same thing with YouTube, whatever. But on Twitter, you're actually able to post like 10 times a day and you won't be penalized for it. Nothing will happen. And some of them will still go viral, right? So it does give you the chance to even test other content ideas. Like, you can test what'll go viral. You can test to see, even if you want to test it there and then take it to another platform. It's very useful. But you can post a very obscene amount of times, which is quite useful when you're testing what works and what isn't going to work. Generally, you want the content just not to be robotic, right? Like, everyone's out there either copying other people's content or they're writing content with Chat GPT. Just be yourself. The way that I kind of be myself on when I'm creating content is I take most of my ideas not when I'm watching other people's content, but when I'm out in nature walking barefoot in the grass, right? Because that's when I'm actually in connection with myself, not any spiritual foo foo, but I'm not getting influence from someone else, right? I'm not scrolling through Alex Hormozy's tweets and being like, oh, that's an excellent tweet. Let me reword that. No, you're actually taking original ideas from yourself. And even if they're not original things because there is nothing new under the sun. At least it's worded and formatted in a way that you, as a person, would voice it, and not as some other influencer would voice it. So a lot of people, what their strategy will be is they'll go and look for viral tweets that have already gone viral and then just kind of redo them a little bit. Don't do that. Don't do that because people know when it's repurposed and when you're not talking genuinely to who you are. You have to add creative pieces to the content, and you're not going to add those creative pieces and those personality touches if you're trying to copy someone else's content. That's where everyone goes wrong when they try and copy the biggest guys on Twitter or the biggest guys on Instagram, is they're not true to who they are, and people can tell. You can instantly tell when you're just trying to copy someone else. And you've heard this before, but the best way to compile your content is just to do it all in one sitting, right? Like I have a content day. Thursdays, I block out my entire calendar, don't take any calls that day. And it's a moment for me to get into my creative space where I'm not scrolling through social media, where I'm not on meetings doing busy work, but I'm actually tapping into my creative side where I can think in a different way. Because if I'm doing meetings, if I have people running in and out of my house, if I'm going to the gym, whatever, I get outside of that mode of creating, and it becomes a difficulty for me to go back and forth. That's just my brain. If you're able to go back and forth quickly, perfect, go for it. But I dedicate an entire day to it so that I can script things, that I can write things out, so I can write my tweets out, so I can get my ideas on paper. And then once I take those ideas, I'll batch them out basically. So I'll write for a very, very long period of time, and then I'll have stuff to just continue to fire off. You can use something like Hype Fury to schedule tweets. I'm going to get back to that tool because we'll want to use that for things like giveaways and different stuff like that. But for just your basic content that you're going to be posting every single day, you can batch those out, either schedule them or post them. I like the idea of posting things live, even if I just put them in my drafts and then posting them later, because then it gives more of a power to what I'm posting in that moment. And maybe I'll even like rephrase it if I see it and be like, "Ooh, I actually didn't like that." If you schedule things out, it almost feels like you're just kind of like pulling the slot machine and gambling and hoping it works. And it doesn't put as much seriousness into it. So I often will, if my team's doing it for me or if I'm doing it, I won't have them schedule it. I'll have them post it live when it's necessary, because then they'll take it more seriously and they'll read over it and everything. But batching content is the easiest way because it gets you flowing in those creative juices. And then if you're just going on your walk in the morning or after lunch or whatever, you can just jot stuff in there as you think it as well, just to add extra tweets, right? Because there's no problem with extra tweets. I generally recommend like 4 a day, 4 tweets a day, and then doing one giveaway, and we'll dive into giveaways, and then doing like one long form or thread, people also call it. And those are very, very important to help your growth. But let's dive a little bit into giveaways. Giveaways are incredibly valuable, especially, and they're so easy to do. It's creating something super easy for people to follow, valuable information that the only thing that they have to do is comment on your post to get access to it. You don't need to make them follow you, anything like that. That you can, but you can still send it to them without them doing that. You basically just want reach from it, right? And if they're already seeing you, they don't need to follow you, right? So, for example, an example of a good giveaway would be if I create a PDF on how to rank on Google in less than 2 months. And this would be for me trying to get SEO clients, right? So, people that are looking to learn how to rank on Google in less than 2 months, which is a very quick thing if you know anything about SEO, and just comment the word SEO, and I will DM the entire PDF to you. This is how everyone does it. You go on to Hype Fury, you have everyone that DM'd the word SEO to you automatically send messages to those people, and then they'll get that PDF. You'll have all that engagement because all those people will be commenting that, their friends will see it, their followers will see it, they'll all comment, and it'll continue to disperse throughout Twitter. And those go super viral if, and especially if, what you have is actually valuable content. We do the same exact thing on LinkedIn, just as a disclosure. I know we're not talking about LinkedIn, but it works very, very well on LinkedIn as well. Long form is pretty straightforward. It's kind of like that PDF, but instead of giving that to them in PDF form, you're giving it to them on Twitter, just fully written out in segments, right? So you'll segment it out. That's why it's called a thread. And you want each of those tweets that you put underneath to be a standalone tweet. The reason for that being is because if someone retweets the first one, that's great. Then people will come and visit your thread. But if they retweet one in the middle and it doesn't make sense by itself, then people won't understand the concept or what you're trying to communicate. So it's important to have every single tweet in your thread be a standalone concept. And once again, we're looking for something that's actually and genuinely valuable and not just some chat GPT stuff, guys. Like actually put your personality into it. If you know anything about me, I love steak. I walk barefoot everywhere. Like I'm an odd guy. And I like to throw those things in the thread so that people know when it's my personality and when I'm talking about things and they understand that it's not just something that chat gpt could have whipped up for them. So that's something that's important to do, is make sure that you're being true to who you are and your unique quirks. You can include those things and so people can actually see that those are real. So that's what I'd recommend doing. One of those threads every single week, and one of those giveaways. Those will be the biggest things to push your growth with, as far as getting reach and getting the right people, right? Because if I know if I'm posting something about SEO and I'm giving it away for free, only people that are interested in that, that have an ecom brand, are going to be commenting on that. And those are all valuable leads that I've just created to and just had follow me. Now, this is important because a lot of people will follow you and not message you. You want to make sure that the information that you're providing to them is valuable. I like to give all information away, especially when we're dealing with something high ticket or even an agency service, because I know that I'm the one that's going to do it the best. That even if I give them all the information and all the secret sauce, they're still not going to have the time to do it, especially my demographic that I'm looking for. I'm looking for e-com owners that are making at least 1 million a year. They don't have time to implement all this stuff for SEO. They just don't. So I know that I can tell them word for word exactly how to do it, and they're not going to go do it because they don't have the time to. So they're probably going to come back to me later and be like, wow, all this information is incredible. I've never heard anything like it, and I don't have the time to do it. How much does it cost for you to do it for me? So that's where your content is able to show value to them in a way that you're not going to be able to do just from sending them a cold DM or a cold email. So we're not even reaching out to people yet, right? We're not even sending them messages. We're just wanting to connect with them, to follow them, to see them following us, to see them interacting with our content on a regular basis. And then once you recognize these patterns of people that are coming back consistently, and most people are like, oh, perfect. Once they've interacted with you twice, they're a lead. Go get them. I like them to interact a few more times just so that they've seen me and they recognize me and they're not just like, "Oh wait, who are you? Oh yeah, I commented on this random guy's blah blah and now he's this." And but they actually have consumed you more than once. They've put a conscious thought into reading your content. So it's a good thing to do, to wait a little bit. You can do it immediately, and then you can put all of these people in an Excel sheet. And then in this Excel sheet, you're going to mark how warm they are or how cold they are. And you're going to, it depends what you're selling to. If it's something high ticket, then you'll have the time and you'll want to do this. If it's something low ticket, then just bring them into your funnel immediately, right? Like have your free stuff be your funnel. Um, but if you're able to kind of qualify those leads and then like start building a conversation with them, and the way that I have my appointment setters do this, and if you don't have appointment setters, you can either get appointment setters that are commission based or you can do it yourself. I do recommend doing it yourself a little bit until you learn how to do it and you can train it and you have your SOPs built. But go get an appointment setter if you have those built already, and just build conversation with them. I'm used to getting DMs every single day of like, hey, would you like to add $3,000 to your MRR every single month by my 6 page format that I will teach you how to do things? Like, I'm not going to respond to that DM ever, 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 even if I want the offer. Build a relationship with people. Build businesses and companies are built by the exchange of ideas and by human interaction, right? Like, why do you go to a networking event? Why do you go to a conference? Even though you know that people are going to be selling you things there, you do it because you want to have human interaction with someone before you buy something from them, right? That's why people go to networking events. That's why people go to conferences, because they want to see them in person. They want to interact with them. So it's this, so that's what a lot of people undercut on the internet, and they just go straight to the pitch. They just go straight to the cold email, right? Instead of actually trying to build a relationship with someone. So if you're able to actually build that relationship with someone and be like, "Oh, hey, I saw you at a," and not like crapping on them or lying to them and being like, "Oh, I really like your dog and I have a dog too," and then you don't have a dog, or like especially if it's e-commerce brand owners, you don't want to make them think that you're wanting to buy their product, being like, "Oh man, does this come in red and does it ship to Florida or whatever?" Like then they're like, "Oh yeah, here's the link. You can buy it here, blah, blah." And you're like, "Oh, actually I have no interest in buying. I want to sell you something." Right? Like that's not good either. But just building a relationship with them and being like, "Hey, I noticed that this is happening on your website, and this was a cool thing that I learned the other day with one of our clients." So just building that relationship and having a conversation with people, not asking anything of them, just giving value and asking how their business is and seeing how everything's going, and then eventually being like, "Hey, I mean, I know we've been talking for a while. I know we've got to know each other a little bit. I've got to know your business. I was just curious if something like a free audit would be valuable to you, or a free demo call, or if I could audit your, if you're doing a Facebook ad account, if I could audit your Facebook ads and see how they're performing. I know you probably work with someone already. I just wanted to see if I could provide any insights." And then when you do this free audit for someone, you actually want to give them all the value again, right? You want to give them absolutely everything. You don't want to hold back your secret formula or your secret sauce. Because if they want to take this stuff and go implement it in their business, perfect. That's fantastic. I'd love for anyone to implement anything that I teach them how to do on their website, whether they've paid me or not, or on their business, because I know that they're going to see that it's valuable, it's going to make them money, and then they'll come back to me when they want more of that money that they've made from my strategy. And if it doesn't work, then I shouldn't have worked with them anyways because it didn't work. You know what I mean? So it builds that relationship with them. And odds are they're a super busy business owner that isn't going to have the time to do it, and that doesn't won't know how to communicate it to their team. So they'll want you to come do it for them. But that's how you're able to get into the door with them. It helps you see if they're actually a qualified prospect. And then you walk them through everything. And at the end of the call, 80% of the time, they're going to ask you, "Well, how can you do this for my business?" Right? They're going to ask you, "Well, how much does this cost if you want to do it?" Because you've already showed that you're the authority, right? Because you've shown them how to do it. You've shown them the issues that they've had. So now they see the problem. And then you've already shown them the solutions, which is your pitch to them, right? And now they're just like, "Okay, well, how much does this cost?" And if they don't say that, they'll come back later. I have clients that come back year, 2 years, 6 months later after they've had an audit call, and they're like, "Hey, man, I thank you so much for looking over my emails. We were able to implement those things. It helped. Now I can finally afford you, and I want you to manage it for me." Right? And that's super powerful when you get someone like that. But through Twitter, you can bring people through this whole funnel of providing an insane amount of value up front, getting people to interact with you, getting people to uh, subscribe into your giveaways, getting people to read your entire threads. And you don't need 100,000 followers to do it. You want to know why? Because you just need a few people that you can close from it every single week, and it's already worth it, right? It's already worth it to do. So you don't need 100,000 followers. You just need 10 people that are interested in the content that you're writing, and 10 people that are really reading everything that you have going on. They always say that the best place to start a business is with the first 100 people around you, right? So it's the same thing on Twitter. You don't need 100 million thousand followers. You just need 100 people around you that are reading your content, and then you're able to provide that value, show them that you're worth it, show them that the work that you do is worth it, and then eventually they'll want to work with you because they've seen the value that you can provide. And you can, and this is a very scalable model, because eventually when you have too many going through the pipeline, you can have appointment setters in your DMs, you can have closers taking the closing calls, you can have someone helping you out writing and posting the content. Everything in this funnel and everything in this strategy is scalable because you can hire it all out. As long as you have SOPs, as long as you have someone that understands the process that you're going through. So some mistakes that I've seen is that obviously making sure that your Twitter profile is perfect. Don't make that mistake. Make sure that your Twitter bio looks good. You have a good solid picture on there. You look like a normal human. You look relatively uh, professional. As I mentioned, don't write generic content. There's tons of that on the internet. There's billions of tweets every single day. Be the one that stands out. Be the dude that posts a picture barefoot out in the grass and says, "This is how I'm going to help you make this much money on SEO," and read my thread. Be the guy that's different, because then they know that you're not just some other Joe Schmo that's either copying content or getting it from Chat GPT. So just make sure that it's engaging, and then it's original to who you are. Ignore those direct DMs. Mistake number 3, don't just pitch things to people right away. Build a relationship with them. Like, actually spend some time doing it, put some effort into it, because it doesn't happen on the internet. People aren't used to it, and it's refreshing to see people that actually take the time to interact with you. Like, and I know when someone's trying to sell me something, I always do, but I'll entertain them. I'll talk to them and I'll be like, "Oh, thank you so much. Awesome." And even when they throw some free stuff at me, they're like, "Hey," like a video editor is like, "Hey, I made a few short form content. Do you like these? Would this be something?" And he throws them at you or whatever. Like, put some effort into building a relationship with someone, because it is a business relationship is always an exchange of value, right? And so I'm not going to give you money if you've never given value to me. Yes, you're saying give me money so that I give you value, but how do I know that you can provide that value, and how do I know that we have the same synergy as humans to be able to work together in the first place? Keep an eye on analytics, right? Like, numbers are super, super important. If you're a creative guy, completely get it. You don't really understand the numbers, but keep an eye on analytics and see how things are growing, and see how your tweets, you can actually go in and see which tweets have popped off the most, have gotten the most interaction, and then you can note also which ones have brought you the most clients, and just so that you can keep track of that. But don't overlook your analytics. And then make sure you're just posting on a consistent basis. Your followers want that, and Twitter wants that also. So if you aren't posting on a consistent basis, they'll be like, "Oh, well, where did this guy go? He used to create excellent content." Those are the main tips or the main mistakes that I see on a regular basis. But I really hope that you guys can take this funnel literally into your business tomorrow, whatever it is, whether you're doing email marketing, whether you're doing local lead gen for med spas, whether you're building websites, and really just try and go and put value onto Twitter, not only because for the clients that it can bring you, but also, as I mentioned, it is going to be an asset in the future. It's one of the easiest platforms that I see right now that's you're able to go viral on and that you're able to grow on. And it doesn't take that much time out of your life. You can, as I said, if it's a Sunday, a Saturday, a middle of your workday, just set aside an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you want to do, however long it takes you, and eventually you'll start getting better at it, and you'll be able to batch out that content, and it'll be a money printing machine eventually, right? Eventually it'll just move itself, because you'll have followers, you'll have traction, people will trust you, people will like your content, they'll know that every time you post it's something valuable, they'll turn on notifications, etc. So don't neglect Twitter. I think it's one of the biggest places you can go to. Take these steps, go through each one of them in your business. If you need more help, please feel free to reach out to me, especially if you want like specific examples or specific threads or different things that you can post for your specific niches. But as an agency owner, it's one of the best places. So I hope you guys use this. Once again, many of you will watch, but very few of you will actually listen.